All right. So I started recording us. I'm going to go ahead and share my iPad screen so that you guys can see what this actually looks like because your guys are mostly going to be using this from the field. So we'll wait for this to pop up. And now everyone should be able to see my home screen of my iPad. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to start with what exactly the app looks like, where it is, where everything goes. If we go over to quickly the user guide is what was sent out yesterday through Paylocity. Bennett sent it out, so everybody has access to this. It is long. It's a really detailed step-by-step of the whole process. So if you notice here, you guys probably can't see this. Let me pull this up on my iPad for you so that you can follow along really quick um, on the screen share here. So I'm going to look up the user guide since I know that I have this in my drive. I'll pull this up so you guys can have an idea of what the user guide is. Pull this up, it might load a little faster. So here's the user guide. You can see it's really long. So I've got on here the table of contents. So the left side of this is going to be mostly accounting, customer service, office managers, kind of general stuff. And then on the right side is more of the sales focused piece of the app, and then what you guys are going to need to know on the sales side. So that's just for you guys' reference. If you want to follow along at some point, you can follow along, and I'll reference back to this a time or two. But we'll go ahead and keep moving on. I'm going to go back to the home screen of my iPad. And from here, everybody should have the Improve It 360 Go app. So the Improve It 360 Go app it looks like this, the i360 Go with the silhouette of a house with some arrows. And if you don't have that on your iPad or your phone, you're going to want to go ahead and go to your app store and search for Improve It 360 Go. It'll pop up and you can download it. And then everyone at this point should have logged in. If you haven't logged in, we sent out some emails with the support email to submit a ticket for us to create a login for you. And that's support at bonedryhelp.zendesk.com. There's a link to that in some of those emails. So here's the Improve It 360 Go app. Let's go ahead and click into it. So I'm going to click on the Improve It 360 Go app. And on my home screen here, I'm going to have these different tabs. Up in the top left corner, if you see the three horizontal arrows or three horizontal lines, there's going to be a side menu bar as well with all the same info, but it's just easily accessible on the side. So here's the home. If I click on calendar, my calendar is going to pop up for either the week, day, or month, whatever I have it set for. So on here you can see if I scroll down, Friday, I had 2 appointments, and then it looks like I have an appointment today from 1 to 4 o'clock with Mike Ditka. So I've got my appointments here. All of them would show up on here from the week. You could go back to previous weeks and look at appointments. You could go to the next week if you wanted to see your next week's appointments. It would give you a better idea of what appointments you have. This process will eliminate the paper route sheets, so you can access your route sheet from either your calendar, or if I go to my home screen and I click on My Appointments, this blue tab, Then I'm going to click on it and it's going to show me that today I have one appointment. So it'll always show you how many appointments you have for that day. And the unresulted number means that's your count of what we would consider right now active jobs. So I have 0 active jobs right now because I've resulted all my appointments when I'm done with them. And we'll go over that process. So my appointments, I could click on it and it's going to pop up here and show me yesterday, Friday, August 2nd, I had 2 appointments. And it looks like Saturday, August 3rd, today, again, I have a 1 o'clock roofing appointment. So that's how you can see your appointments on here. The filter is set to show your previous 10 days of appointments and then your next 10 days of appointments if they're scheduled. So you'll be able to see some historical data show up in here, so you could easily get to some of your appointments. Go back to my home screen and we've got my marketing opportunities. My marketing opportunities, the name of it sounds deceiving, but really, essentially, marketing opportunities are specific follow-up tasks or follow-up events for prospects. In Improve It 360, prospects are customers are referred to as prospects. So that's where you may see that name pop up a lot. Prospect just means customer. So a marketing opportunity is a follow-up event to reach back out to a homeowner and have some kind of event, whether it's a follow-up to call them back or a follow-up to reset the appointment, something like that. Your My Task are going to be essentially, you could just think of My Task as your, they would essentially just be your personal task or your specific job related task that aren't related back to a customer. They can be related back to a customer, but like if I click on My Task, I'm going to see that I have on these days, I had some on Sunday, August 4th, I need to get my oil changed. So that's just how you would do task. If you wanted to add something to your to-do list, up in the top right corner, you would click the add button. And then under task, you'd have this come up. You can put in the subject line. Let's just use something like, clean out my truck. The due date is the day you're going to do it on. The status is going to stay not started yet. And then you can add more description if you need to. I'd click save. And now I have a task on here for Saturday, August 3rd to clean out my truck. I'm going to click on it. And when I'm done with it, I'd go to the status and I would click completed. And then I'd hit save and I'd be done with that task. So this is going to help everybody keep a good track of tasks. It's going to be easier to set automatic follow-up events with certain homeowners so that you don't lose track of them. It'll give you your list of these are your follow-ups for the day in the marketing opportunities. So I'm going to go back to the home. And then the only other tab on here that's really relevant at this point in time is the prospects in the bottom left. So if I click prospects, in here, I can search for any prospect or any customer that I want. So I could come in here and I could, search for, let's say I want to search for Mike Ditka, not Meek. Mike Ditka. There's Mike Ditka right there. So if I want to search for a previous customer that I've run an appointment for, she's going to be in here too. This information came over from CEO. So you could search for prospects that way if you need information about somebody. All this information is accessible from the field. So now I've kind of gone through the home screen here a bit, and now we're going to move on to actually going to an appointment and what your process is going to look like at an appointment. So I'm going to click My Appointments. It's going to show up again here that I have Saturday, August 3rd, today at 1 o'clock. I have an appointment, and I'm going to click on it, and it's going to take me to my appointment page. So my appointment page here, there's 3 tabs at the bottom for information, details, and related. So those are 3 different. The related is going to show you the quotes, sales, and projects that are specifically tied to this appointment. So it's not going to show all of this prospect's quote sales and projects from the past. It's specifically ones for this appointment and this appointment only. If you wanted to see some all of the quotes and sales that we've ever done for Mike Ditka, up at the top there's a prospect tab. I'm going to click prospect. It's going to take me to the prospect page, and now I can go over to the bottom tab that says related, and now I can see all of the past appointments for them, all the past quotes we've given, and sales and projects. So that's how you'd find some historical information. I'm going to click back, and we're back on the appointment now. So the information tab has some cool stuff up at the top that we'll go through really quick. The result and new quote we'll go to soon. The result is going to be done at the end of the appointment. It's the last thing you do. And then the new quote button is going to be where we would actually go to create our quote in Improve 360. And we'll get to that in a second. Some cool features on the mobile version. So say you're on your phone and you want to call them and let them know when you're on your way. I'm going to go click on this call button, and it's going to ask me if I want to make a call. If I click OK on this, it's going to start dialing the phone number automatically. So you won't have to type in the number. You won't have to, copy it down from anything. You could just click on it and it'll automatically start calling them. The map feature here, if I click map, whatever your default Maps app is on your device, it's going to pull up and give you an option to get directions to where you're going. So you won't have to copy and paste that in either to get where you're going. You can just click map. Another cool feature, if you like doing recons on your appointment before you get out there so you know what you're getting into, you could click Street View. And when you click Street View, it's going to give you the Google Street View of the address you're going to. So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into a little bit. So I'm going to go back again to my Improve 360 app. And now I'm back on the appointment. So we've got the details tab at the bottom that purely just gives you a little more info on the appointment. So it's got the address, the time, what the appointment is for, and then I'm going to go back again. Excuse me. So from here, we've got all of our info in here, and I'm ready to give a quote. So I'm going to click on this new quote button up in the top right, and it's going to pull up the new quote page. So from the new quote page is where we actually start pricing stuff. So I'm going to, under quote name, it says Ditka Mike right now. After that name, what I need to do is I need to put a description of the quote after the name. This is just going to be internally for us to identify the types of quotes these are. As of right now, if you save this, it's going to show up in the list of quotes as just another Mike Ditka quote, and we don't know anything else about it. So I'm going to put in here that this is, so let's pretend this is a roofing appointment. So I'm going to put that this is a roof quote. We won't be, so say you go out to a roof appointment and they're interested in a new roof, gutters, and insulation. You're going to have to create 3 separate quotes. So we're only going to do a quote for the roof, then we're going to save it, do another quote for the gutters, save it, and do another quote for the insulation. So we're not going to, like right now on our home improvement proposal, we put all that on one page. We're going to create 3 separate quotes for that. It's going to make a lot of our reports a lot better. It's going to make things less confusing for a homeowner, because I think our home improvement proposal can be a little confusing at first glance. So put in a description under the quote name. We don't need to touch the status or the quote template. A quote template feature is going to come later down the line, but we'll get to that when the time comes. The valid until field is going to auto default. If you don't put anything in there and you go through, finish your quote and save it, it's going to auto default to 30 days of being valid. If you need it to be less or you need it to be more, if you click on the valid until field, it's going to pull up with this little calendar and you can select whatever date you want. So I only want this to be valid until August 23rd. and then that's done. That's going to be on the quote when we show it to the homeowner. The description field here is going to be the description for specifically what the issue is. So this isn't going to be what we're going to do to fix it. This is purely why are we here? What is this quote going to fix? So I'm going to put in the description field, leak in both valleys, if I could spell, in the rear of home. And that's it. So just the issue of why we're there. Sorry about that, I had to blow my nose. So under the description field, we're done. And I'm going to move on to this estimated start date. So if you see to the left, that's a required field because it has a red circle and you've got the red box around the estimated start date. So I'm going to type in here what we would normally type on our proposals. So let's just pretend the estimated start date is, 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 weeks. You put, 5 to 7 days, 7 to 10 days, whatever you would normally put on our current proposal in the estimated start date, that's what you're going to do. Insurance related, we're not going to put anything in the insurance related field. We're going to go ahead and skip that. And the last piece we have to add is this quote type. So quote type, when I click on it, it's going to pop up with this menu of specifically what quote are you giving? Are you giving a roof replacement quote right now? Are you giving a roof repair quote, an insulation quote? So it's essentially whatever you type up in the quote name should kind of relate back to what you select down here in the quote type, because this is going to give us a little more information on what kind of quote we're giving. So it should look pretty familiar. On this one, we're given a re-roof quote, so I'm going to click roof replacement. Now I'm done with the information section and I need to go ahead and start doing quote items. So the quote items are actually adding in the fields to be able to give your price. On the left side of that, there's a red circle with a minus sign. That's the delete option. And then to the right, if you look at the blue circle with a plus, that is your add button. So we need to add some options, and we need to add our prices. So I'm going to leave up here, I'm going to do the blue plus. And for this quote, I'm going to go through and leave what we would normally leave on a proposal. So I'm going to add an option for, let's leave an option for Oak Ridge, duration, and duration flex. And then I'm going to add optional upgrades for ice and water shield and ventilation. And then I'm going to end up adding, let's say, a skylight. So you guys can kind of see in depth what a roof quote would look like. So under quote item, it's really generic. There's only a couple options in here to pick from. So if I'm leaving a roof quote, I search for roof and I click on this roof quote item. If I'm leaving a repair estimate, I click repair and there's a repair quote. If I'm leaving an insulation estimate, I click insulation quote, so on and so on for gutters, exteriors, everything's going to be on there. Masonry, pop up there. You're going to click those items and we're going to use this multiple times. This is just making it easy for everybody to not have to search for anything specific. Eventually this will get a little bit more in depth, but we're going to take some baby steps. So I'm going to click roof quote and my quote item page is going to pop up here, and I need to, the product name is going to stay roof quote, and the description here is going to be the actual description of what we're going to do to fix the repair. So if this were a repair, I would put into the description field everything that you would typically be typing into the PDF document as far as what we're going to do to fix the repair. But on a roof, I'm just going to go ahead and put in here that the description is going to be base roof OC Oak Ridge. And that's going to be our first item. I'm not going to touch this taxable piece. And then the quantity, I'm going to leave as 1 here. The quantity is going to be really important when we get into our options. essentially on our current proposals when we're doing this, over to the right, whatever options they select, we usually will put a yes, and the options they don't select, we'll put no. So a quantity of 1 is going to indicate, yes, we're doing this, yes, we're charging for this. A quantity of 0 or none, either one's going to pop up as 0, means no, we're not doing this. So I'm going to leave this on here right now as quantity of 1 because this is our base roof price. The price, let's say this is a $10,000 roof, and that's our base price to do it. I'm going to hit done. And then now it's going to show my subtotal down here. My base roof price is 10 grand. So I'm going to go and add now with a plus sign. I'm going to search for another roof quote item. So click roof quote, and I'm going to type upgrade to OC duration. So it's in there. Now on my quantity, I'm going to leave it as none. So if I leave it as none, that means it's going to be an option, and then the homeowners can choose yes or no on it. But for now, we're going to leave it as an optional upgrade, so quantity is none. In the price, let's say it's 500 bucks to upgrade to OC duration. I'm going to hit done, but before I do that, if you can see in the gray area of the screen at the bottom next to subtotals, it still says 10,000 for the price of the job. If I go up to quantity and I put a 1 in here, it updates that subtotal to 10.5. So to a homeowner, that's going to look like, well, they're giving me a quote, they can do the job for 10.5. We can do the job for 10,000, but here's an upgrade option for you to upgrade to a better shingle. So I'm going to hit done. If you're in a market that you only install your base roof is a duration shingle, you would just add the base roof as duration and then add your upgrades from there, and you wouldn't have to add the Oak Ridge line item. So I'm going to go back again, add another roof quote. Let's go ahead and just put in here upgrade, OC duration. Duration flex, there we go. Now I'm going to change my quantity again and just delete the 1 and add my price to upgrade is going to be an additional 3,500 bucks to go to duration flex. I hit done. Now you can see those options on here, 10 grand. I'm going to add my options for ice and water shield and a ventilation upgrade. So what I'm going to do is over again, I'm going to add an item, and I'm not going to do roof quote for these. These are going to be actual separate products. So I'm going to search for ice and water shield upgrade. So I click on it. It's going to pull over an automatic description for you. You could delete that and you could add whatever you want in it. But for right now, it's just going to be a quick description of it. I'm going to change my quantity again to nothing because it's an upgrade. And I'm going to say this is a $400 upgrade to put ice and water shield on the eaves. I hit done. Now it's going to show up on my quote. I'm going to hit this plus sign again. I'm going to search for ventilation. There's a ventilation upgrade. In this description field, I'm going to put the description of what the previous ventilation system was and then what the proposed ventilation system is. So let's say, remove 10 box vents and install 60 linear feet of ridge vent. So that's on here now as my description. So we're going to remove the 10. This is going to help the production team know that we need to prepare to remove 10 and there's 60 feet of ridge vent. Quantity is going to be nothing again. And my price, let's say this is a $700 upgrade. So I'm going to hit done again. Now I've got all those items in here. If there's a skylight on the house and we need to give a price for the skylights, I'm going to go up to the top here and I'm going to click the plus again and I'm going to search for Velux. So the skylights dash Velux is just purely the actual skylights themselves without flashing kits. And then the skylight flashing kits are the corresponding flashing kits. So if we're not replacing a skylight, but there is a flashing kit, we need to make sure to need to make sure to remove or to add just the flashing kit. So for now, I'm going to click on the actual Skylights Velux, and I'm going to add a description in here. You can add one if you want. You don't have to. So I can just put in here, you know, on the rear slope of home. Quantity, you can leave the quantity as 1 on here, and then don't put a price if your skylight is included in your base price that you gave. If it's not included in the base price you gave and you're giving them an option to upgrade and, you know, replace the whole skylight, you could leave the quantity as 0 and put your price in here for it. Say, you know, for $1,000, you could put a sky, or we could replace the whole skylight, and then you'd pick whether it's a deck mount or curb mount, and you can pick from here the specific model that you need. And as soon as you click it, now you're saying that we're giving you an option for $1,000 to replace your D06 skylight. If this was included in your base price and you're just putting it on here so that production knows we're doing a skylight, you could change your quantity to 1 and then your price to 0. So it's going to show 1 meaning yes, we're doing the skylight, and the price on here is 0 because it's included in my base price. So I'd hit done. As in, no, you could put, if you want to, you leave the 1. We'd want to have 1 meaning, because that's going to mean to the production team that, okay, yes, we're doing that. But in the description, if you wanted to put in there included in base price, you absolutely can do that. No, you cannot. Nope. Nope. So it's going to say this is 0. If you wanted to, again, if you wanted to add this as an option, it would then say 0 at 1,000, and we can go back and we'll propose it to them. If they select it, we'll come back and edit that um, to be an included option. So right here, I've got, look, we're doing one D06 skylight, but I need to add the flashing kit. So I'm going to click Skylight Flashing Kits, follow the same process, go to the deck mount, and I'm going to click my D06 flashing kit. I can hit done. Now my skylights are on here. So it looks like we're including in our base price one D06 skylight with the skylight and flashing kit. So at this point, I'm done with my roof quote, and we're going to save this. So I'm going to save it. Up in the top right, the save button. It's going to take me back to my appointment. So from here, I've already saved the quote. In the bottom right is the related field. And now I can see my one quote in here that I gave for roof. If I go back to the information section, I'm going to go ahead and create a quote for insulation too, because we're going to sell them insulation. So let's go ahead and go click on new quote for insulation. And the quote name, I need to remove the roofing, and I need to put in insulation. So I've got that in there now. Again, status and quote template are not going to be relevant. Valid until, let's just leave it blank because it's going to default to 30 days. The description is, you know, let's say currently only 6 inches of insulation. Estimated start date, it's going to be 1 to 2 weeks. Quote type, I'm going to click insulation. So I've got that in there. And now I can add my 3 items in here for, I could add an R38, R49, and R60 option. So under quote items, I'm going to hit plus. I'm going to type in insulation, insulation quote. In description, I'm just going to put what option this is, R38. Quantity, since we're leaving these an option and we don't know which one they're going to pick yet, I'm going to remove the quantity and say, hey, R38 insulation is going to cost you $1,500. I'll hit done. And then I'm going to hit the blue plus sign, add another insulation quote, make this one R49, remove the quantity. The price is going to be $2,300 for R49. And then I'm going to add one more item in here for R60, just so you guys can see how this is going to look on a proposal. So I hit 0. Price is going to be $2,750 for R60. So now on here, my total is going to show $0, but I can still see that R38 is going to cost me $1,500 and R60 is going to cost me $2,750. So I'm done with my installation quote, and I hit save up in the top right. It's saving that quote as well. And now it takes me back to my appointment page. So what I want to see now is I want to look at what do the actual PDFs of these quotes look like. So now is the point where you created your quote, you're grabbing your stuff, and you're going inside to demo this to them. So we are not uploading anything yet. We're just at the point where we've come up with our pricing, and we're going to go and demo. So what I need to know is I need to pull up those PDFs so I can show it to the homeowner. So under the related field at the bottom, it's going to pull up my 2 different quotes. So let's show them the roof quote first. So I'm going to pull up and just click on this quote for the roof. And at the very top, you're going to see that it says quote. So I'm going to have to here look now at the documents. And the documents is going to be what pulls up the actual PDFs. So I'm going to click documents. And we're not going to use the bone dry proposal. For right now, we're still working on making sure that looks right. For now, we're just going to use the quote or quote with signature. So the quote is what you're going to use if you're just leaving behind a quote or sending a quote. If they're ready to sign right now in front of you, you would click on the quote with signature. Excuse me, and then it's going to pop up in the proposal, and they have this box down here that they can click on and sign, then click accept, and now the signature is going to be on the quote. So let's go back and look at just what the quote document looks like. Hit documents again and just click quote. So now here's going to be my information up here. It's got the prospect information up top, the billing information, how long the quote is valid, and the description of the issue. Now I've got all my items listed out down here. So I've got my base roof price for Oak Ridge at 10 grand, upgrades to ice and water shield, ventilation. You'll notice all those say in the quantity field are blank. So those aren't included as of right now, but the other options are for skylights and the skylight flashing kits. So let's say we're demoing this to them and they decide they want to go with the duration flex option, and they want to do ice and water shield, but not the ridge vent. So we're going to go back, and let's also look at let's go back one more time, and then go to the related field and scroll down to see our insulation quote. I'm going to click insulation quote. Again, I'm going to hit documents and hit quote. It's going to pull up my quote for insulation. It's going to show them my prices for R38, R49, R60. They want to go with R49. So now I know the options they want to go with. While I'm still sitting there, I can go back. And then on the quote page at the bottom, there's going to be a details and related tab. I'm going to hit details. And then now in the top left, I can go and edit this quote and select that they want to go with R49. So in edit, I'm going to go in here, and all I'm going to do is click insulation and change the quantity of R49 to 1. Then I hit done, and now my quote on here is 23 grand or 2,300. So I'm going to save that. Now I need to go back and edit my roof quote. So I'm going to hit back in the top left, and then go to related on the appointment from here, and it pulls up my roof quote. So I click on my roof quote. And again, I can go down and hit details. And then top left, I hit edit. And they decided they wanted to go with the duration flex, ice and water, but not ventilation. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to click on, I leave the 1 in the base roof price because that's just our base price, and we're going to click yes to the option. So under duration flex, I'm going to click on it and put in a quantity of 1. And then they aren't going to do ventilation, so I'm going to leave it at 0. And in the ice and water shield upgrade, I'm going to go in and put a quantity of 1. So hit done. Now my price is $13.9. I can see the options I'm doing. And now the last thing I need to add to this quote so that production will know what exactly we're doing is I need to go in and add the OC duration shingle product so that we can select how many squares there are, what color the shingle is going to be, what color are flashing, if we're doing drip edge and gutter apron. So I'm going up. This is the last thing I need to do. In the top right, I'm going to click the plus sign, and I'm going to search for, if you just type in here under OC, all of the OC shingle types are going to pop up. So we only need to do this one time, and it only needs to be the shingle that we're going to actually install on the roof. So I know they're doing duration flex, so I'm going to click on duration flex. The description in here, that's fine, upgraded dimensional shingle. It's going to be automatically in there. If you need to add to it or if you want to put in your own description, you're more than welcome to. The quantity and the price are going to remain 0, or the quantity is going to remain 1, and the price is going to remain 0 because we're not going to charge extra. Right now, this is purely just adding information. So under squares, I'm going to just type in how many squares this is. Say it's 25, and then click the drop-down menu over here next to color. And it's going to pull up. These are only the color options for duration flex. If I picked Oak Ridge, it's only going to pull up the Oak Ridge color option. Same with Berkshire and Woodcrest, Design, all of it is only going to pull over the color options for that specific shingle type. So you won't accidentally sell a color that isn't available in that brand. So I'm going to click Onyx Black. Below this, after this call, I'm adding in this information. There'll be a configuration option that says counter flashing or flashing, and you'll need to select on it either the color of the flashing, which would be brown, black, bronze, or white, or there'll be an option in there if there's no counter flashing on the house, there's going to be an option to say no counter flashing. And then there'll be one last field for edge metal colors, so it'll pop up. It'll give you the option for edge metals, and then it'll be an option to say if you're doing both drip edge and gutter apron, or if you're just doing gutter apron and no drip edge. It'll give you the options to select that and their color. So it'll be right on the quote for the customer to sign off on, same way we do it right now. So I'm going to hit done on here for now. Now my OC Duration Flex product is down at the bottom with my new subtotal. I'm going to click Save. And now I can open back up that document, open up the quote. And now you'll see on here my new price of $13.9. I'm doing a yes, we're doing the OC Duration Flex. Yes, we're doing Ice and Water Shield. Yes, we're doing skylights. And then the Duration Flex is the shingle. And it'll have in there the squares and the colors of the shingle and the flashings. So now I'm done with that. I'm going to save it. And from here, when you save it, you got a couple options here. You can save as attachment or attach an email. So if I do attach an email, right now through the app, it doesn't format very well into an email. So the easiest way to do it is going to be to save it as an attachment first, and then go in and email it from there. So I'm going to save as attachment. It's going to give me an OK. And in the top left, I'm going to hit back. So now on this same page, if I scroll to the bottom, my attachment that I just saved is going to be down here. So now I can click on the attachment and it's going to pop up to ask me where I want to send this or what I want to do with it. So if I want to attach it to a text message, I can attach it to a text. If I want to email it, I can click on the mail. Um, Eventually, all these we're going to have to load into Google Drive, and I'll go over that in a second. And then at the very bottom, there's a print option. If you have a printer in your truck, you can print the quote right from there. So for now, I'm just going to upload this into Google Drive. So I'm going to click on this Google Drive or this Drive app, and it's going to give me an upload window. So Google Drive is going to replace Dropbox. So we're not uploading anything into Dropbox anymore and having office managers move it from Dropbox to CEO. And the easiest way to think of the Google Drive app and these folders are going to be that's essentially the new links folder. So if you were in CEO and you go to links, you see all the photos and proposals and worksheets and pictures. Now it's all going to be in Google Drive. Everybody can access it from wherever they are, and you're not going to have to go into a links tab. So that's the easiest way to think of Google Drive. Next to this PDF red icon, I need to click on the quote name, and it's going to highlight it, and I need to rename this because it's going to, all of them are going to have this quote HTM and a bunch of numbers. So I'm going to change this to roof quote. And then at the bottom, it's going to have your email, and then it's going to ask you to select a folder. So I'm going to click select folder. And it's going to come up. You can search, come Monday, you can search either through My Drive or Team Drives. You can add whichever one you want. Tomorrow, we're going to update this so that everybody has permission to see the Team Drives. Most people right now are not going to have access to Team Drive until probably tomorrow. So when you see it tomorrow, I'm going to click Team Drives, and there's going to be this i360 attachments folder. So I'm going to click on i360 attachments and refresh this really quick to load all the right folders. So now here's a list of every customer with this PR number next to it. The PR number is called their prospect number, which is essentially their customer ID now. So I can go through here and look this way, or if I wanted to search up top here, Mike Ditka is not actually going to be in here because I just created him as a fake folder. So I'm going to just search for someone that I know is in here. I'm going to search for, I'll just search for my parents in here. So let's see, they're actually not going to be in there. Let's look for someone, an appointment that I ran recently. So I can't find one in here that is going to be in here. So let's just pretend that Susan Backer, I searched for it and her number popped up on here, and it's going to be in this same format where it says Abbott Jackie number. I'm going to search up here, and for now, let's just pretend that this top Susan Backer choice is the one that says Susan Backer PR number, blah, blah, blah. We're still loading right now all of our current proposals, pictures, videos, and everything from CEO are being loaded into Google Drive. So we can't see all of them quite yet because it looks like her information just hasn't been uploaded yet. So I'm going to just click this Susan Backer. And now all my previous pictures are going to show up in here. Every picture that anybody that's ever run an appointment for her is going to show up in here. All the previous worksheets, proposals, everything's going to be in here. So now I'm going to click on, I want to save this here. So on the bottom right, I'm going to hit save here. Now my folder says Susan Backer. And then the top right, all I need to do now is upload. So I'm uploaded. And now I would go and add my pictures to Google Drive. So I'm going to go back really quick and go to my home screen. In the bottom is my Google Drive app down here. It's on here, and now I can go and search for her up in this top search field. So again, she's not going to pop up in here as a Improve 360 folder yet, but she will come Monday, and all of the previous customers will as well. So Susan Backer, I'm going to click on that same folder. Now it's going to pull up all the photos, and you'll see up here now, this is the roof quote that we just created that I uploaded in here. And then bottom right, there's a plus sign, and I'm going to just hit this bottom right plus sign that's colorful. Click it, and it's going to pop up with a window to upload. So I'm going to upload, and it's going to ask me if I want to upload photos and videos or if I want to browse and upload like a worksheet. So I'm going to hit photos and videos. It'll pull up all your albums. I'm going to hit all photos, and then you can select from your camera roll whatever you want to upload. There'll be a little blue circle with a check that's going to give you a indication that that's what's going to be uploaded. So I'm going to hit upload in the top right. Now I've uploaded my pictures, I've uploaded my proposal, and we're ready to move on. So that is what replaces the Dropbox folders right now. I'm going to go back to Improve It 360, and then I'm going to hit back in the top one more time. So it's going to take me back to that appointment. I would also need to go at this point to Related and click on my installation quote. Click on my installation quote, hit Details, and then edit this, which we already did. Sorry, so we already added the R49. I save it, and we need to save this document. So I'm going to hit Documents, hit Quote. Now it's showing up here that we're doing R49 installation. I hit Save in the top right, same process. Save as attachment. Click OK. I'm going to hit back in the top left, scroll to the bottom, and now I've got my other attachment down here that I can hit downloading. And again, I'm going to upload this to Google Drive the exact same way. Installation quote, select folder, team drives, and search for who you're looking for. So Susan Backer, save here, and then hit upload. Now I've got both of my quotes in there. I've got all my pictures. And the last thing that I need to do before I go to my next appointment is I need to result this. So I'm going to go back. And in the top left, I'm going to click on now this result button. So resulting is going to be just essentially indicating what happened on this appointment. Did you sell it? Did you not sell it? There's going to be multiple options. So on the top, I'm going to hit result. And then we'll go through on here how to result an appointment as sold. And then I'm going to switch over and run through some of the other options on the user guide. We're getting a little pressed for time, so we'll go through the user guide. I can show you guys how that stuff's going to look. So let's start with selling. Let's say we sold the roof and we sold the insulation. So my result is a required field. It's got that red circle. So I'm going to click on the result on the drop-down menu to the right, and you're going to have all of these options pop up. What I'm going to do is, or what we're going to do is, we're not going to use all of these. We're going to use sold, demo not sold, not demoed, and no show. So sold obviously means you sold it. Demoed not sold means you got to demo this to the homeowner. You got to actually give them the price, go through the product demo, and we didn't end up selling it. In not demoed is going to be, for whatever reason, we ran the appointment, we did our thing, but we didn't demo the price to them, we didn't do the product demo, and we're going to want some information on why you didn't. And no show is going to mean you get there, you're calling and knocking on the door, and no one's coming to the door, and you obviously they don't show up, so you're not going to sit there and give them a quote. We'd have to set up another appointment. So I'm going to click sold, and you're not going to be able to see this button that says disregarding statistics, so just pretend it's not there for right now. And now another required field is going to pop up for the quoted amount. So the quoted amount is going to be, we need to put in how much the quote we're selling is. So if you look down at the bottom now, there's two options for select sold quotes. So those are going to be all the quotes that you created for this specific appointment. So I created my roof quote and my insulation quote. The tricky part right now is that when you create multiple quotes, you have to result those independently. So I can only pick one quote to sell here, and I need to go another route to result the other one. We cannot select more than one quote to sell here because it's going to create only one project, and it's going to say that the roof and insulation are part of one project when they're going to be two separate. So click on whatever your main sale is from this appointment, click on that. So I'm going to click roof, and it's going to pull the quoted amount up top to that 13.9. In the comment section, I can add any kind of comment I want. You don't have to. The important piece on this right now is the office and the sub account pick list. So we have to take an extra second and make sure that the office and sub account pick list are correct, because that's what's going to push over to our accounting software. And that's going to say if you accidentally click the wrong office or the wrong pick list, it's going to send that revenue and the cost to a different market and a different division. So we need to make sure we get those right. So in the office, it's going to default to the office based on the zip code. But like for you, Pat, if you're running an appointment in Dayton and you happen to be on the north side of Dayton, that is showing up as a Columbus area, that Columbus may have been the one running the appointment, that office may default to Columbus, and you would say, oh, it's not a Columbus job, Cincinnati's going to do it. So you would click on Indianapolis, or you click on Cincinnati and not Indianapolis or not Columbus. So you change it there. I'm going to leave it as Indy. And the pick list is going to be more specific of you're looking at your market and your division on here that's going to do the job. So in Cincinnati, Pat, it would be if it's a roofing job like this one, we click Cincinnati roofing. If it's a repair, if it's masonry, interiors, exterior, you'd click that. If it's anything other than those options, it's going to be a multi-trade option. So for this one, I would have clicked Cincinnati roofing, but this is actually an Indianapolis job, so I'm going to hit Indianapolis roofing. And we have to verify that those are correct. Now, the last piece to it is this recommend masonry item. So recommend masonry, if your market has masonry in it, then you're going to be able to leave an option on here. Hey, their chimney's in bad shape. They need some masonry work done. So under the recommend masonry, if you scroll down, there's a couple options on here. There'll be a couple more. But for right now, we're just going to click on tuck point or other. So I'm going to say other. And as soon as you put something in this recommend masonry box, it goes into a queue or a list for the customer service team to go in and call them and see if they want to set up an estimate for masonry. So it's not just putting it on a proposal and maybe someone will get out there. We can actually have someone follow up and call and say, hey, I noticed that one of our guys recommended a masonry inspection. We wanted to know if you're interested in getting a free estimate. So that's all you have to do for the recommend masonry. That's all you have to do for this whole thing. Now you'd click save up in the top right. If the roof was the only thing I sold on this appointment and I didn't sell insulation or anything, at this point, I would be done. So I would be done with this, and now you'll see result doesn't show up and I can't create any more quotes. The unresulting part is going to be in the user guide. We can go over that. But at this point, you'd be done with this appointment. You're uploaded. You've sold the job. Now all you got to do is move on to your next appointment, and it's out of your hands on this appointment now. It's already with the customer service team to start POing it. So what I'm going to do from here is we'll go over to, I'm going to switch screens, and we're going to go over to just look at the user guide to go through the last couple items on the quote. So let me stop sharing that screen, and I'm going to share this screen with you right now. So you guys are going to be able to see now my screen, and I'm going to move over to the user guide. Let me know if you guys can see this user guide right now. It should say table of contents. I just want to make sure you guys are able to see this right now. So someone could let me know. Okay, perfect. So we've gone through, at this point, we've covered the mobile app. We've gone through task. We've gone through uploading to Google Drive. We've gone through generating a quote. We've generated multiple quotes. We've edited quotes. We've resulted an appointment and resulted it as sold. So now there's a couple more pieces that we can go through on here of if you have, say we sold the insulation as well, there's a separate process to make that a sale. If you ended up resulting in appointment as demo not sold, or if you ended up doing not demoed, there's instructions in here. And then if you need to, if you accidentally result the appointment wrong, you could click on this unresulting appointments piece. So I'm going to go ahead and skip down here to page 236 because that's what I need to know right now. So down here to 236. So you notice this is the last page of what we did last time. I just need to, like, we click save on the roof. And then now we need to go and actually create a sale for that insulation quote. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep moving down here. When you're done, you're going to exit the Improve It 360 app, and you're going to go look for your whatever your internet browser is. So Safari, Google Chrome, whatever you use. For this example, I just did Safari. So we'll exit that, and we need to go to the actual online version of this. This is a glitch in the system right now that they're working on, but for a while we're going to have to do this process. So I'm going to go to this web address, login.salesforce.com. It's going to ask you to log in. You're going to log in with the exact same username and password you do to get into your app right now. And then it's going to take you to this hybrid version of the mobile app slash the desktop version, but we don't want to use this part. So in the top right corner or top left corner, you're going to hit the three horizontal lines, and then it's going to give you a menu. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's going to be an option to go to the full site, and we want to go to the full site. So click on full site, and it'll actually launch what the desktop version looks like. At this point, I would put a bookmark on this web address so that you can quickly get back to it. So you don't have to follow the steps to log in every time. Put a bookmark on it because I think a lot of people are going to be selling multiple quotes on appointments. So this is the point right now where we would do that. So put a bookmark on it. And then in the top left, there's a search bar right next to the logo. And you type in the prospect name from that appointment that you just ran that you're going to create the sale for the installation for. So in our instance, this one says Peyton Manning on it, but in our instance, we would have typed in Mike Ditka. So I scroll down in the search results. It's going to pop up with how many prospects match that name. I'm going to click on the correct one. So I'm going to click on, it would say Mike Ditka again. This one is just using Peyton Manning. So I click on his name. Now in the top, I can see that I'm on the prospect page and I need to scroll down. I scroll down to find the appointment section, and then the most recent appointment is going to be at the top. So that should be my appointment. You'll see that the status is resulted and the result is sold, and then it's my price. So this would have been the 13.9 from the roof quote we just used. So you click on the appointment name. This would be Manning Peyton Roofing. Then you're in the appointment page, and you need to go down the page until you find the sales section. And the one sale that you already created when you resulted it from your iPad is going to be there, but you need to create a new sale for that installation. It's going to pop up with the new sale page, and you can import your quote. When you click import, it's going to pull up all the quotes that have been created in the past. And you would go in here and find, for us, we would have picked on the insulation quote that we created, but this is a different example. So click on the quote you want to sell, and then click OK. And then down at the bottom of the page, we're under sale items. what you quoted is going to show up now down in the sale items. If you scroll back up to the top, again, you need to verify and select the office and sub-account pick list from those drop-down menus, and then you need to put your name in as the sales rep. So it should automatically pull your name in as a sales rep. If it doesn't, you'll have to follow this process to search for it. So under sales rep, there's a little magnifying glass. You're going to click search. It's going to take you to this lookup page. Type your name in and hit go. And then your staff name is going to pop up in the results. So click on your staff name, and it's going to pop up now in the sales rep one field. You need to click the date on the right of the sold on date because we sold it today. So if you click on that, it's a shortcut. It'll fill in that sold on date. And then now you can go to the bottom and click save. At that point, you're done. If you happen to have another proposal that you needed to sell, say you sold 3 of them, you'd have to come back to this step here and do the same thing again. Click on the same appointment. You just click on new sale again, and you do a new sale for the gutters. So it's a little tedious. It may be easier to, if you sell multiple, you can always, if you have access to a desktop at the office, that may be easier. Or if you do everything off an iPad, this process works too. So it's not too difficult. Now, quickly, we're going to go through, we're going a couple minutes late. If you look in the user guide, here's how you would result an appointment as demo not sold. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. You can access the user guide. So I'd mark it as demo not sold. I'd pick a detail of why didn't we end up selling it. Let's pretend they did other estimates. I have to type in how much we quoted them for, 9,500 bucks. And in comments, I want to know, they're getting other estimates. When are they getting other estimates? So they're getting them tomorrow. Again, I'm verifying my account or my office and my sub-account pick list. And then there's this green bar at the bottom for next steps. I'm going to create a marketing opportunity. We're not going to create appointments or flag anybody yet. So I'm going to do a create marketing opportunity. And it's going to be a follow-up to call them on July 16th. And my comment is going to say call prospect to see what other quotes were. And then top right, I hit save. Now here's the instructions on how to go and complete that marketing opportunity. So you go into the marketing opportunity, go to details, hit edit, and it's going to show up at the bottom. You'd put in the completed date and completed by. You'd obviously select your name from the drop-down menu, and then you'd be done and you hit save. If you're not going to demo, if you didn't end up demoing it, here's how you go through and not demo. Select no price given as the result detail. Comment, we want a good comment here of why didn't you demo it. So obviously a not demo, we never want to not demo. So if you put in the comments here that, just didn't give price and that's all you gave us, that leaves a lot of questions about why, what was the circumstance. So comments is a section where you can explain the situation. Again, the office and sub-account pick list, and then your next steps on this one are going to be different. So you create a marketing opportunity, and here let's go ahead and have let's set a set appointment because we want to have the office manager call and set up another appointment. So at least try and call them back. So let's try and reset this. So click reset in the type details. The date isn't going to be the date you want the appointment on. That's the day you want the prospect to be called on. So set the date for today or tomorrow. In the comments, give instructions on what exactly this is. Then click save. Then it's going to take you back on here, and you're going to hit the back button on the appointment. Again, it's going to take you back to the home page. You're going to go to My Marketing Opportunities. Any marketing opportunity that you set when you're resulting is going to default to being assigned to you. So right now you created that marketing opportunity to call them and set up an appointment. If you don't reassign that, it's going to the system is going to think that you're supposed to be the one doing it. So you need to go in and reassign it. So I'm going to go into marketing opportunities, click Thursday, August 1st on the date of that appointment. Again, go to details, go to edit. and it's going to be assigned right now to you. And all you need to do on this page is reassign it. So click on that drop down menu, assign it to your office manager from the list, and then hit save. And then go back, refresh, pull down and refresh your marketing opportunities. It's no longer assigned to you, and it's assigned to your office manager. The last piece is unresulting appointments. This is going to be more of a function that the office managers are going to help out with. So I won't go through this. It's kind of the last piece on here. And at this point, we've gone through, we went over time a little bit, but we've gone through this whole right side of the app all the way through the appointment, different situations, and now we're done. So if there's any questions that anybody happens to have right now, you're welcome to ask them. If not, and you come up with a question later, like I said earlier, that email that went out with the link to send an email to create a support ticket is support@bonedryhelp.zendesk.com, and you can submit, just create an email, send it to there, and then it'll assign a ticket. We'll take a look at it, figure out who's best to answer the question, and we'll send a reply back to you or call you or fix whatever your issue is. So I know everybody's going to have a lot of questions come Monday. Appreciate everybody watching this. And if you get lost on Monday, the very first thing you should do is open up this user guide and try and find the answer yourself in the user guide. If you can't find it or you're in a kind of a one-off situation, then you can go in and you can actually, um, you know, create a ticket for us to help you out with. But try and use this first because there's going to be a lot of questions answered in this user guide. So, you guys have any questions? Sure. So yeah, so we've always had our prices we give include sales tax already. So if you have a customer like that that wants to have it specified that it includes sales tax, put in the description include sales tax. So it'd be the same process right now. Um, we don't actually put a markup or anything on sales tax. It's just included in our price already. Okay. I know that probably was a little quick and there's a lot of info for everybody to go through. But again, I recorded this. I'm going to send this back out so you can reference it again and then look at that user guide. All righty. All right. Thanks, guys. You too.